Well, friends, the recent news announcement on 4th October that India has five more classical languages has taken many by surprise, and many have been asking questions to me and to my colleagues in the linguistic experts committee as to what exactly does it mean. Well, as you know, in 2004, when we started the journey of declaring, considering, analyzing, and then finally helping government to notify classical languages, we had three linguists in the committee, headed by Professor G.C. Narang, the former president of Sahitya Academy, who is no more, Professor B.H. Krishnamurti, the doyen of Dravidian linguistics, who's former vice chancellor of University of Hyderabad, who's also passed away, and myself. Now, having discussed the issue threadbare and having talked to many international experts, we came to the conclusion that we must have some objective criteria to be able to declare or to be able to analyze or consider. So one criterion that everybody agreed was high antiquity of the early texts, recorded history, which should be about 1500 to 2000 years. Then a body of ancient literature or ancient texts, which is considered to be very veritable heritage by generations of speakers of that language. Although at that point of time we didn't realize that some languages could be there for which there is no speaker living now. Third was the literary tradition be original and not borrowed from another speech community. At that point of time, we didn't realize that in ancient India, there has been a lot of intermingling, lot of borrowing. For instance, Ramayana has gone from Sanskrit to Tamil as Kamba Ramayana. Mahabharata has gone as Nannaya's text. But that's not something which is to be looked down upon. In fact, what made India a single cultural entity and a country right from early days is this spirit of give and take. Then the fourth criteria was classical language literature being distinct from modern. There may also be a discontinuity between classical language and its later forms or offshoots. Now we know about the situation in Greek in particular. There has been many offshoots and there have been different kind of Greek dialects, languages, whatever you call them, in which different kind of classical texts came up. So with Tamil and Sanskrit, things were very easy because it has thousands of years of recorded history. Uh, when it came to languages like Kannada and Telugu, it was evident that we needed something more. And that something more was inscription, numismatics, that is coins, and many other kinds of evidences like knowledge texts, not necessarily literary texts, like medicinal texts, etc., which will have to be considered. And accordingly, now we have the criteria in which the third criteria has been slightly modified, where these texts and these epigraphical and archaeological evidences have been taken into consideration. And in that score, Kannada, Telugu, and Odia, they have done very well. And coming to two languages which remained unannounced, one was Pali, one was Prakrit, which even in 2005 to later days we uh, did recommend that these two should also be considered, because after all Pali is a language which is used by Lord Buddha um, between 563 and 483 BC, and Prakrit, or a variety of Prakrit called Jain Prakrit, was used for many texts that originated thanks to Tirthankar Mahavira. He was also around 600 BC born at that time. So these languages had this kind of issues, and by recent times, after Odia was announced in 2014, it triggered the interest among the Assamese and the Bengali speech communities, and they also prepared between 1,000 to 2,000 pages documentation with lot of new evidences, new argumentations uh, from both inscriptions, knowledge texts, etc. Now, in this, what has remained was 2012, there was a committee for Marathi, and 2013 they had submitted. 2014 we considered, but that was not yet announced. So that Marathi was also part of the whole team. So the linguistic experts committee considered all these five languages. Uh, the issue which came up was which Prakrit we are talking about. Because there are so many Prakrits. You have Shauraseni Prakrit in the central India, you have Maharashtra Prakrit in the western part of India, Magadhi Prakrit in the eastern part of India, Paishachi Prakrit, which is near Kalinga. So the issue of Prakrit, at that point of time, we said that, well, Prakrit and Sanskrit existed side by side for over 3000 years. And we see Prakrit being used in the dialogues of the characters used in Sanskrit play. And lots of songs were also sung in Prakrit. So obviously it is something, there is a lot of proof that the language existed. Similarly, there was also a lot of give and take between Sanskrit and Prakrit. There are things which got lost in Sanskrit but remained in Prakrit, or vice versa. And the issue was the common man's speech was Prakrit, and Sanskrit was an scholarly, elite kind of language, a language of philosophy. In fact, we call it Deva Bhasha because in Sanskrit, original texts like Vedas and Upanishads, human beings, we are speaking to gods. We are actually addressing ourselves to God. So the difference is that in Pali and Prakrit, the address is not to God, address is among yourself, between yourself, to self. So Lord Buddha is raising these debates and issues of discussions, which is very different from the Brahmanical region, where the dialogue is talking to your own selves. So the uh, committee therefore sat down and saw that these two languages, of course, Pali, a lot of people have this question, when did the name start? What exactly is the date of origin? Well, it is very difficult issue to be answered because some people consider Pali to be originating from the Eastern Magadhi, that is, uh, so, and some people think that no, it is from Paishachi, that is, it was originally spoken near the Telugu and Odia border areas. Some people think no, it is the Shauraseni Prakrit origin of that. So there are many kind of argumentations. We do not want to. In fact, the reason why we are declaring this as classical languages is to encourage people to do more research to find out these details. So, but the fact is that Buddha's speeches, sayings, discourses, conversations were initially orally recorded and orally remembered and orally transmitted by generations after generations. All the suttas and dhammas and abhidhammas, they were passed on by generations like that. But later on, there were a Buddhist congregation which believed that there is a lot of degeneration which is coming, so we should do something to record them. And when Emperor Ashoka sent his son Mahinda to Ceylon, which is today's modern day Sri Lanka, to teach the Saddhamma, which in our current language in Hindi we will say Sat Dharma, the true Dharma, that is Buddha's Dhamma, based on Tipitaka. It is believed that he carried the Tipitaka texts in Pali with him. Some people say, no, he didn't carry, he only carried it in the head. And at that point of time, they were written down in Pali, which is 1st century BC. Now, that's what this is. These are the reasons why we also favored that these two languages need lot of work to be done. Like we have encouraged Sanskrit, and there are so many Sanskrit universities these days to be able to do research in this area. Similarly, Pali and Prakrit also need to be encouraged because the scholars are becoming less and less in these two areas. As far as Bangla and Assamia are concerned, I remember even in Aitareya Aranyaka, 5th century or 6th century BC, you have the name this of the language as a lingua franca. Then in Bangladesh, in Bogura district, there is a place called Mahasthangarh. Uh, this has given compelling evidence in favor of both Assamese and Bangla as to their linguistic identity. The inscriptions also show a word such as Samvangiya, which means somebody who is hailing from Bangladesh. And the script, as you know, the joint script, Siddhamatrika script, which emerged from Brahmi, basically used by both Assamia and Bengali, and the Kutila Lipi that they used earlier, they have been in existence for a long, long time. 6th century, we have these examples. Ashoka's rock edicts, like 4th rock edict, um, discovered in Gujarat, Gurna, but then they have words which are typically words of Bangla. Spellings are in Bangla. For instance, in Panini, they said Bavayor Abheda. In the eastern region, they don't know how to speak Va, they speak with Ba. So, there in Girnar, this inscription, we have Dvadasha, which is typically Bengali spelling or Assamese spelling. We also have a Chinese Sanskrit dictionary we didn't know about. In fact, Dr. Shahidullah spoke about it, written about it in Paris in French. That text was not available to us, but although the text was edited by Prabodh Bagchi in 1929, before India became independent, and 1937 in 2 volumes, as Deo Lexique Sanskrit Chinois from Paris, and this has 52 Bengali words. Obviously, this means that that language was used as the language of market, language of people who were, uh, doing business between China and India, because the Silk Route was very much alive. So these are the reasons why we actually decided that these languages need to be encouraged as classical languages, and we also encouraged the Maharashtra Prakrit, because Maharashtra Prakrit is a language in which all the songs were written those days, and that's the basis of Marathi language, modern Marathi language. So I'm hopeful that a lot of new research will come up now that these languages have been declared as classical languages. Thank you very much.